have to play your way out of being on Hard Knocks off-season.
Learn Chinese, buddy. Konnichiwa.
It's a me.
Now they make the playoffs next year with Sanders as their quarterback.
Steph Curry walked so Caitlin Clark could run. The cup should go back to Canada, where it belongs this next go-round.
I like to suck on him a little bit first. All this all.
Where was Nick Bosa on January 6th?
Look at that. Already messing up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Craft Brewed Sports. I am your host, Scott, and Mike is off tonight. He took Thanksgiving week off, that dirty SOB. But guess what? Most importantly, filling in for him, kind of, we have back in the Speakeasy, the voice of God, Mookie. Welcome back, my friend. What's up, brother?
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to Craft Brewed Sports. I'm Mike, and here with me, as always, is Greg. Greg, how you doing? Tons to get to tonight, but first, let's skip ahead a little bit there, Greg. No, I'm real excited. We got some stuff cooking for you. Big night tonight. Hopefully, going to have a wonderful spot with the guest host breaking down some footage for us tonight. It is the biggest bar night in the year eve, and yet we're here in our own bar in the Speakeasy chopping up with y'all. So,
but we're festive.
Look
at us.
Look at this.
Thanksgiving background. Happy Thanksgiving, biggest night, drinking night of the year eve, y'all. Good stuff. Good stuff tonight. We are going to interview Pat Paterno. I just say it was Pat Paterno, right? I got that right. Jay Paterno. Where did I get Pat from? Did you say Pat before the show? I messed that up. Anyway, we're going to be interviewing Jay Paterno tonight later on in the show, and we're going to go heavy football tonight because, well, it's Thanksgiving week. Football's in full force, and that's most of what the news was this week. So we're sticking with that. But first, let's go on ahead and get to these beers that we are drinking. And I'm not used to not going first, but Mookie, what's in your mug, and is it a dog?
Oof, I don't know, man. It is a wit ale from. Man, I should have practiced this beforehand. Omegang Brewery, Omegang. I don't know. I've checked into it on tap before. Gave it 4 caps last time. Not really feeling it that much this time. I can't say it's a dog, but maybe it works out better the longer I go. At the end of the day, it is still a beer, 5.2%. If you like wheat beers, you'd probably like it, but we'll call this one Cocker Spaniel. Not my favorite kind of dog, but worst case scenario, it's still not a cat.
Yeah, that's a good point. But Cocker Spaniels are mean SOBs. Like they tend not to like anybody but their owners. Like to bite kids. So I don't know if that says much of beer, but interesting dog, interesting dog to compare it to. Shout out to Jesse for pointing out that I introed myself by my former name, and I am actually your host, Greg, not Scott. Thank you, Jesse. No Scotts here. Only Gregs, like only fans. Yes, right here tonight. I am drinking the other half of the holiday pack that I had from last week. Great Lakes Christmas Ale, the original, the OG, the best when it comes to this time of year. Doesn't get much more festive than the Great Lakes Christmas Ale. We've done plenty of Christmas ales on the show to try to compare, and I still think that at the end of the day that Christmas Ale is the doggiest of all the dogs. So tonight I have the best in my mug, Great Lakes Christmas Ale. I'm not going to try to say what type of dog it is, but just know that it's a very good dog. Good dog.
Saint Bernard, the ones with the little kegs on their
the kegs on there. You know what? I don't think that I may have come in contact with like 1 or 2 Saint Bernards in my life. Like I don't know. I've never really known anybody to have Saint Bernards. Like more contact with them through Beethoven than actually in-person interactions with any type of St. Bernard. So
you would have thought that in our childhood growing up, there'd be a lot more of them, considering that fact that yes, Beethoven was big back then, but maybe people looked at him and go, that's way too much slobber, man.
Way too much slobber, and they're just so big. Like having like big dogs, you've got to have big space. You got to want to deal with that. Like I would love to have. I like big dogs, I just don't want
Oh,
to
yeah.
own a big dog.
My rule is always that you got to have a dog big enough to wrestle with, because if you can't wrestle the dog, then what's the point, right? Just get a cat, and then if you're getting a cat, just don't even get a pet,
That's fair. You
Was
guys
the
drop
dog-
what you're drinking in the comments. We'll talk about it. It's, Biscuit chiming in saying, "Not drinking tonight, but I did just finish a big ass roasted pork ribeye dinner with mashed potatoes and skillet cornbread. It is my first Thanksgiving dinner, and this is one I am thankful for all of you." Well, we're very thankful for you, Biscuit, and thankful for all of you guys who tune in to listen to the show or watch us when we are on YouTube or on the playback. So thank you, Biscuit, for chiming in with your dinner combo.
Let's also not gloss over the fact that he said his first Thanksgiving dinner. Biscuit, I need you to follow up and specify exactly how many Thanksgiving dinners you're going to have, and how did you come to lead such a blessed life?
Well, I was assuming that it meant maybe the first one he cooked, but that's a good point. Maybe it's his first Thanksgiving dinner of the week.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Exactly.
Yeah,
it's
that would
be
be interesting.
series of them.
We need to follow up to that. But in the meantime, I think we should go on and get into the show before we get to the interview later on. And like I said, we are going to talk a lot of football, so we might as well start there if I can find the transition there. Ohio made an interesting decision this week. It has been determined that high school players are now allowed to receive NIL money for a very stuffy state of Ohio that tends not to do anything to profit anybody but those in charge. I, for one, am very shocked about this move. But more importantly, if you're a high schooler that can receive NIL money, like, I mean, that's kind of a huge deal, right? Like yesterday you couldn't, now all of a sudden you can. I'd be scrambling if I was a high school senior. They've already missed out on the football season, but they've got, the winter sports and a little bit of spring. I'd be scrambling to get whatever money I could between now and the end of the year. So big deal for high schoolers in Ohio. But I imagine that this has to move like kind of countrywide. Like this would just be the start. And I don't know what the rules are in other states, but I'd imagine that other states will follow because, I mean, Ohio's not the leader in anything.
I was going to say, usually we're last. So I'm surprised that we're the first. Like, did we just miss a press release somewhere else? Like, did they sneak it into the big, beautiful bill and nobody noticed until now? Like, my question is, okay, so you're a booster. Say next, Cincinnati school has tons of money to pay for kids to come there and play. What do you have in a high schooler do? Because the last thing I think I want to risk is having a high schooler is like the marquee whatever of my endorsement. So like, are you just going to have them show up to sign some autographs, or like, do you have them work a shift at the lot? Like, I'm all for kids getting paid, but they're paying college kids, and there's some kind of contractual obligation for them to do something. What are you going to trust a high school athlete do to hold up their end of the bargain to make this a legitimate NIL deal?
I mean, absolutely nothing. If it's my money, I would assume that this is going to be reserved for like the top athletes. Like if another LeBron ever comes out of Ohio, I could see it being a big question there, or somebody on that level where you're getting like a generational type. Because otherwise, investing in a high school player could be like super risky. I mean, you have to worry about. I mean, not that you don't have to worry about certain things with college players, but. I mean, it's less of a good look if for some reason a high school player got busted drinking or doing anything like that. Like that is an illegality. Yeah, like
taking answers off the test, stuff like that.
Just about anything. So I would imagine it'd have to be somebody who you fully believed was going to be worth the money you were putting in them, and also that you weren't worried about not.
9 minutes. Took them 9 minutes.
It took longer than I thought, but there is our esteemed show host chiming in that he hates the Thanksgiving background, and Mookie and I determined at the start of the show that Mike would hate the background somehow, some way. I figured we'd pick the most ridiculous one to go with. So happy Thanksgiving,
festive,
Mike.
Man.
Yeah, seriously. Why do you
know?
hate Thanksgiving, Mike? Like, why?
Of all the holidays too. Well, no, I was gonna say it's probably the least controversial of them all, but that's not
yeah. Biscuit chiming back in to confirm that he is like a hobbit, and that this is the first of 3 Thanksgiving dinners for him this week. So not the first one he's cooking, just the first of many that he's
first
eating.
one he's consuming. Now, in that scenario, if it's up to you, do you go 3 turkey dinners, or do you go like a turkey, a prime rib, and like a ham? Like,
if I'm having ham and turkey on Thanksgiving anyway in the one dinner, because my wife much prefers having ham, and I would much rather have turkey because I like turkey, but if you're only going to do turkey on one day, it needs to be Thanksgiving, and then I'm all about the ham on Christmas. But we do both. We just got a smaller version of each of them, and I do the one dinner. But if I was going to do multiple dinners, or if I was attending multiple dinners, I would hope that they had different food at each of them, just so I didn't have to eat the same thing for like 3 meals in the same week. Like, I enjoy good turkey on Thanksgiving, and then all the leftovers. I don't necessarily want to eat it for 3 meals in 1 week. Like, I don't need that much turkey in my life.
And I think that's what's wrong with Thanksgiving, though, is that really the problem is that nobody makes turkey unless it's Thanksgiving. And then
do that, it doesn't give you a lot of room for error, right? Like,
did you just fix your mic?
I sure did.
This whole time I just assumed it was my crappy internet, and I'm like,
nope.
Mookie sounds different, but it's probably just my crappy internet, so I'm just gonna ignore it. And as soon as it switched, it's like, oh no.
I spent way too much time screwing with the camera to try to get that right after I realized the old computer I used to use for it's a whole situation over here. This place is a mess. But hey, we're on air. The streak continues, keeping things alive.
Ooh, Biscuit also chiming back in to say that tomorrow is a big Brinner, and then Thursday is the traditional one at his cousin's. I like that. That's a nice mix. Also, Brinner, sign me up every day.
Oh yeah,
like
why doesn't Brinner have a holiday? Like,
it should,
right? Like, we got to pick one and just make it a Brinner. Like,
Mike continues to complain about the background, so I think that we should. Hold
on. Don't worry. I'll fix it for him. Don't worry about this.
Yeah, no, change it up. We'll go back to the more traditional one. That's fine.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. All right. So
perfect.
So anyway, Brinner, I'm all for it. Like, absolutely.
Jesse pointing out New Year's Day. New Year's Day is the day for Brinner, I think. Well, see, New Year's Day, I got to be honest. New Year's Day, I like to do a crock pot chili, A, because it helps soak up all the booze from the day before. B, it used to be, it's a great thing where you can have like 19 bowls of chili throughout the day as you watch all the football games. Not quite the same these days because they're spread them all out or whatever. But again, for me, New Year's Day was always a crock pot chili. Just throw that thing on, let it simmer all day, grab a scoop here and there as you go throughout the different activities. What, Mike, what are you so mad about, dude? Like, what? I mean, look at this. We got all kinds of stuff in here. We got leaves. We got some acorns. Like, Scott put a lot of work into this, and you're just sitting here shitting on him.
Yeah. Well, not only that, I mean, we could get one with a little bit more cultural appropriation in it. How about that?
Okay.
Good.
You know what? While we're easing into stuff and we're literally getting the ball rolling, why don't we kick it off a little bit of Tulane highlights?
Speed, the elusiveness. You watch it, man. Just he catches the football, and a big play can happen. And you saw after the catch, man, he's got some wheels. And he'll step into the end zone.
Big win for Tulane in the Craft Brew Dynasty. Win on the road, facing number 3 Florida in the Swamp. Top 10 matchup early in the season, and you saw it right there towards the end of the first quarter. Whitey Samoza, the quarterback, just scrambling in on the read. Best part was the way he stunned it on him and just slowly walked in the end zone, trying to lure them on that personal foul penalty. Didn't get the call, but most importantly, got the 6 points.
Fair enough. Moving on to a ridiculous story. And speaking of breakfast, this next one somewhat involves breakfast. So a UAB player stabbed 2 of his teammates on Saturday before the game. I don't know what could be worse than getting stabbed by one of your own teammates prior to anything, but just the idea that your teammate would stab you. I mean, murder, sure, much worse, and we've seen that a time or two in the college sports world. But I can't imagine getting stabbed before a big game by a teammate. But apparently it was an offensive lineman who had a scuffle with a defensive player the day before. Their argument carried over to the morning, and he showed up at breakfast and stabbed the dude. There's bringing the Brinner back around. When another player jumped in to try to stop the attack, he was also sliced in the hand. The player that did the stabbing is being charged with attempted murder. Both injured players have been released from the hospital. What the shit is going on in Alabama?
I don't know, man. It's really hard to understand. I mean, now if you told me that they took the last strip of bacon or the last a sausage out of the breakfast buffet, okay, maybe. But even there, you can't be throwing it around and letting dudes catch strays. This is the only thing that's worse than this is that story we did a while ago on the one dude's father who decided to stab someone 22 times because he scuffed their car. I don't know, man. Stabbing people is just that's it's a bad look. It's a real bad look. And if this was something that carried over overnight at some point in that situation, if is the offensive lineman who did the stabbing, offensive linemen are notorious for being a really tight knit group. So you mean to tell me there wasn't one other dude in that squad that couldn't have pulled bro aside and be like, hey, maybe don't stab him. Sucker punch him, maybe. Still not advocating for violence, but there's a lot of different ways you could go down with that because this dude's going to catch a charge and he's probably going to do some serious time.
Well, not only that, what are you arguing over? That's that heated that you wake up the next morning and you're like, all right, packing this knife, and as soon as I see my guy, it's on. I'm stabbing him this morning.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Yeah. I'm still that peeved. Things were not resolved. And as soon as we get in line for breakfast this morning, boom, shank to the back of the ribs. I can't imagine.
Boom. Tough acting connected.
I can't imagine what situation would bring teammates to do that. I don't know. It blows my mind.
Especially after Friday night walkthrough.
I didn't play on enough teams, I guess, to get to that point of getting angry enough at a teammate to stab somebody. Yikes.
Imagine this too. What's worse, the fact that that dude goes and stabs his teammate at breakfast the day before the game, or the fact that the team is you know what, we're going to carry on and play this game because our seniors deserve to go out, with honor, and then take a 48-18 beating from South Florida at home.
Well, also putting out the pregame injury report. So we had to add two of our guys. They've been stabbed. Oh my God, what happened? Teammate stabbed him. What? That's what an awkward situation to be in. I can't imagine that there's too many head coaches that have ever had to drop that information pregame. So 3 of my guys were involved in a scuffle this morning at breakfast. 2 of them were stabbed. One of them's in custody. But we've got to go out there and play the game today.
Can you imagine being coach and you're in your office, right? Maybe you're doing a radio spot for the local radio station beforehand, or maybe you're running through some last installs or making, printing out your play sheet or whatever, right? And then all the assistant coaches are outside the office. They go, you go tell him, I ain't telling coach this. I ain't telling him this shit that 2 dudes are injured, 1 dude is arrested, and the whole team is in disarray. Can you imagine that conversation? But who gets to go tell coach what went down at breakfast over the biscuits and gravy? It's a tough look, dude. It's a tough look.
Biscuit saying that pocket pancakes can make a motherfucker do some shit. That's a good point. Blame managers who hide pancakes in their pockets.
Or maybe one could argue if they had some pocket pancakes, this could have been avoided. If everyone just had a couple extra pancakes in their pockets, maybe there wouldn't be a problem.
And Mike pointing out that imagine shanking someone near the pancakes. So wild. Yeah. And Jesse saying quit stealing people's fruit cups. Maybe the Friday night argument actually wasn't that bad. And then it was something that set him off at breakfast. It's you know what? I'm still not over last night, and now I'm going to cut you. It was one thing that you stole my girl, but you also took the last piece of sausage, and I'm done. I am done. I was ready to look past you talking to my girl and stealing her from me, but not the last piece of sausage.
Couldn't even pull a Wayne Brady and try to choke a bitch first. I mean, come on, man. Like,
Yeah, man.
stabbing people.
Yikes.
Do you think
I thought hitting people on the opposing team in the nuts was bad in football, but stabbing your own teammate, that's Hall of Fame terrible.
What is going on this year in football, though, man? We spitting on people, we're punching dudes in the nether regions, we're stabbing people at breakfast. Like,
things are getting out of control in college or in football. Clearly. Period.
And you know what? I can't help but wonder. It all started when we started paying the kids.
You gotta blame
Some
that.
People might say. Some people might say,
they start wilding out. I wonder. That's a good point. I wonder what the NIL situation is between the three players that were involved. Like, do you think the guy who got stabbed is making more money than the stabbee? And then, hell, the innocent guy who tried to step in and break the whole thing up, who got shanked, is making the most money, and he just caught one. Like, man,
do you think the guys that got stabbed, do they lose their NIL deals because they're not playing anymore? Like, is that a bad look on
I think the one that did this. I think the one that did the stabbing is probably likely to lose out on it.
Well, I kind of figured that goes without saying. But,
terms of the agreement generally include not stabbing anyone, preferably not stabbing other people on the team.
And if they didn't before, they're all going to now, because everyone going forward is going to be like, you know what? Real quick, though, throw that one little clause in there. Make sure that, no stabbing.
Like,
perfect.
Do we really have to put this in? Do you think they're going to stab their own teammates? It happened once. That's enough for me.
Hey, you all know about UAB, right? The Biscuit also saying, you think that's bad? You should see what they do from some Zaxby's. Have you ever had Zaxby's?
Excuse me? Is that a legit question?
It is a legit question, yeah.
You
gotta go south to get them.
I lived on
Zax.
No. I lived on Zaxby's for an entire week during spring break and senior year. That was when I discovered Zaxby's. It was the first time I'd ever been down to Florida for spring break. And it was like, oh, that not only is this chicken amazing, they have a multitude of options that you can get it, and it's relatively inexpensive. Had Zaxby's for lunch and dinner for like a week straight. The only mix-up was breakfast at Waffle House. Other than that, it was Zaxby's for pretty much every other meal.
Okay. No, I'm not out here.
And for the record, I would stab a motherfucker for some.
You would stab a motherfucker for Zaxby's. I was gonna say I might stab someone for some Waffle House. Because man,
I would definitely stab somebody for some Waffle House.
How you do your hash browns?
It's like eaten.
Respect the game, Scott. Come on, the game. You know what I'm asking you.
I know what you're asking, but truth be told, I'm not much of a hash browns guy. So if I eat them, I just take them however they're on the plate. But I usually just maybe take a bite or two. I'm not a big potato guy. Oh, hey, it's my kid.
All right, kids here.
Take it. Everybody, take a drink. Luke's here.
For the record, cheese. Jalapenos, onions, and then if I'm really feeling crazy, I'll throw that chili on there.
Now, see, that would be how you're supposed to hash brown. Like I guess I've been hash browning wrong, and every now and then I might just have a little ketchup on the side, but no. And yes, I did hear about this, and there's a rumor, Biscuit saying that Zaxby's is coming to Ohio, first location by Liberty Mall. I still won't believe it till I'm actually standing in the Zaxby's in Ohio, because I've heard these rumors before. And included in this rumor with them getting to Liberty is also that they were like opening up a couple of locations in Columbus, trying to move in on the old the turf up there, the home of Canes.
So what would you compare or equate a Zaxby's to? Like what might I have had that it would be relatively similar?
As far as what, like
chicken tenders, right? Because that's their big thing.
Yeah, I mean, like chicken tenders, but yeah, I mean, the easy comparison is Cane's, but the reason that Zaxby's is good to me isn't because I don't necessarily think that their chicken tenders are like worlds better or anything. It's two things. One, it's the sauce I like better at Zaxby's. And two, again, they have multiple options. Like you can get chicken salad, chicken wings, like multiple different chicken items. Okay. It's not just chicken tenders and fries. So if you're not in the mood, last time I was there, they had they were doing some promotion where they had like 3 different little like street chicken tacos. and
Ooh,
they had it for a
ooh.
little time. Tried them, delicious. Like
Ooh.
that's where I think Zaxby's has a leg up on just your standard. Oh, it's chicken tenders and fries.
Mm. So okay, see, yeah, and that's exactly important. That's important too. If you're going to be eating it every day for a week,
Yes,
you got to have
it's
that
not
variety,
just
right? You
chicken
got to
tenders
mix
and
it up.
fries. Yes, you're able to get other things.
Although I will say I would take cane sauce or some of that Chick-fil-A sauce. I'd put that right in IV. Just pump that shit right in there. I don't even need
I mean,
the
that's the
Chick-fil-A.
thing that it was like the three is Chick-fil-A, Cane's, and Zaxby's, and you're a fan of the side. Like, I probably put Cane's at the bottom of that. I go Zaxby's.
Damn.
I go Zaxby's, Chick-fil-A, Cane's.
So you're sipping on that Zaxby's.
Yep.
You're chugging on the
Chick-fil-A, and Drainpour and Cane's. I think Cane's is overrated.
Man. I think I got the Texas toast. That's pretty solid. You don't get that everywhere.
Fine. Also, Zaxby's has Texas toast. So,
well, all right, there you go. There you have it, folks. That's all we need to know about it.
And Mike correctly pointing out there is no wrong way to hash brown.
That's true.
I mean, it's fried
that
potatoes for breakfast. So, but I like your way though. I make a meal
the
of cheese
it,
and jalapenos. Like, that sounds delicious.
That
sounds like elevated hash browns, rather than the regular ass way that I just eat them. So
right, I mean, ain't no basic shit there, but yeah, all right, cool. So he probably stabbed him over some Zaxby's. Got it.
I was like, we've gone off on the Zaxby's tangent. I completely forgot that it was about somebody getting stabbed over breakfast.
Let me tell you,
the kids
again, got a lot of these to cover today. Someone that also might stab people over Zaxby's or breakfast here would be Tulane's big defensive lineman.
This defense has kept them backed up. Now one more stop, and they can get off the field on third. Picked off.
I mean, look at Big Daddy beat that block and get his hands up, pick that up. Like, that's huge. That's huge. Right before halftime, putting Tulane in the spot to get some points before half. I mean, look at this guy. Look how excited he is. He's got the Mardi Gras beads and everything. Like, I love when big men get the ball. There's nothing better in all of football than when you get to see these moments. I also love how they clarify that this is his first interception of the day because he's likely to get multiples, apparently. Go figure.
I like the end.
But again,
get that ball, big fella.
That's right. That's right. Let's go. Let's go.
Sticking with football and more importantly, the collegiate level, Rice was trying to get students to come to their final home game this past week. So they decided that they were going to put out an offering that involved free beer, which means you're going to get a whole lot of people to show up, but definitely broke ass college kids. Students came to the game. They were able to get a free voucher for Ben and Jerry's and a $15 food truck voucher, along with the first 500 kids getting a free shirt and free beer. Yes, students did get a free 12-ounce beer. But as Mike pointed out in the notes for this story, it's kind of genius when you're thinking about it, because if you have all these people lining up and they get one beer at a time and there's only one place that they can get it, you're going to keep the amount of beers that anybody can get down quite a bit. I mean, unless they're paying. But as far as the free beers go, I mean, you'd be lucky to get two unless you missed almost all of the game or cut in line a bunch of times. So genius way to get broke college students to come to the game.
Did they get multiple free beers, or was it just like first beers free?
I think it was just first beers free.
Okay.
But even then though, like standing in that line, you figure 500 students.
Oh, that's brutal.
You're waiting on 500 students to get a beer. It's not exactly going to be moving very quickly, and you're not going to get wasted off one beer, but they're more likely to buy other things. And because you got one beer for free, you're certainly going to probably buy two or three more to round things out. It's a genius way to make sales and get free eyeballs and asses and seats. I mean,
because you know what? After one free, and Mike clarified.
Oh, they get multiple free
beers, but there was only one kiosk.
That's okay. So that's the rub.
Which again, that's genius, though.
I guess
right?
You can have
everyone's going to get their one free.
Yeah, I guess you could have 15 vouchers, and if you've got to stand in line 15 times, you're kind of screwed.
after my second free beer, I'm looking, I could stand in this line for 5 hours, or I could go over here and pay $10. And after 2 beers, $10 is basically free, right? So,
yeah, running the math.
Yeah. Just saying, never mind. Rice is as weird as I thought.
That was in relation to are they allowed to drink beer at Rice?
Oh. What are they, like Mormon or something? Is like BYU?
No, Rice is in Texas. I don't think that they're a religious school or had any religious affiliation.
Maybe not.
Could be wrong about that, but
here's the real question I have. I was trying to look it up over here. Did they A, win the game, and B, what was attendance like at this? What conference is Rice in? Sun Belt or something? Like
American, maybe?
American?
I have no clue. I'm just throwing out random small conferences that aren't Power 5.
We'll just click through a ball and see what happens, right? Tulane with another big win this weekend against Temple. Also Scott's. Oh, yeah. Okay, wow. Scott's North Texas Mean Green really took it to Rice. So they did not win. Not even close. 56-24. North Texas took it to them. But let's see here. Box score. Let's see what the attendance was like. Scrolling. Great podcasting here. Doesn't say. Cool. That worked out well. Thanks, ESPN. Love it.
ESPN. Go figure. They don't even have the minimum stuff.
Oh, no. Anymore. I found it. It's a different page. Attendance 24,598. So feels like pretty good attendance, all things considered.
I mean, for a matchup that I doubt 24,000 people are coming to otherwise.
Probably didn't even remember they were at a football game, for that matter. They were probably just drinking in the concourse and going, man, what a nice day to be down here in Houston, Texas.
Is that where Rice
promptly
is?
Right after, according to the internet, yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I was never sure. It's one of those schools that I just know it's in Texas. Couldn't point you where in Texas, just somewhere in the state.
Oh, guess who Rice played in the game before this, who they actually beat?
Tulane?
Stabby McStabbertson, UAB.
UAB?
Which, that
with
game
a full
had
roster.
Attendance. Yeah, that game had attendance at 22,600. So apparently the free beer added about 2,000 people to their attendance. So
just pointing out that that's almost packed since the stadium attendance is just over 30K. So not a bad showing. I'm guessing he's with the outcome and the attendance again for a game that doesn't have much appeal to it otherwise, and you're not pulling in 24,000 people.
Look at all the free publicity they got. I mean, 6 people on air tonight are hearing us talk for 5 minutes about Rice Owls. Did you know they were the Owls?
I did know that. Didn't know City, but I did know that they were the Owls.
Did you also know that promptly after that drubbing, North Texas's coach got a bit of a promotion?
Got a bit of a promotion. How so?
He's now going to coach Oklahoma State.
That's interesting.
Maybe an opening.
Did he take that job right after the win, or right after the loss?
Yeah, I'd believe so, because Pete Thamel broke the news today at 4:30. So
okay. Well, there you go. Yeah. pretty self-evident. Speaking of coaches and movement and all that, LSU reportedly offering our boy Lane $90 million salary with a $25 million year NIL budget. That's kind of crazy.
Sorry, but before that, Biscuit saying this entire conversation makes me want Chinese food.
Took me.
But also, race card. I don't know. Other people eat rice. Biscuit. Other people.
That's a lot of money for Lane.
Yeah.
I don't know how he turns that down, and I don't know what this means for his chances at Florida, but it sounds like that's going to be in the bag if you're Lane. And I guess, I mean, Lane at LSU can be fun. I think it would have been more fun if he was with the Gators. Like, I don't know.
All I know is he better do this right and do it just like high school recruits do when they announce their letter intent. He needs to have like 3 different hats on a table somewhere doing a live broadcast.
See, I don't like that for colleges, but I'm here for that for coaches or for college kids rather. Like I hate when the high school kids do that to pick their college, but I think that would be pretty dope for Lane to do something like that and kind of mock the system, but also do it over the top and like toss a hat off or do something ridiculous like that. I think I'm here for that.
I mean, how Lane Kiffin would that be, right? That would be very on brand for him, I think. Have you played Road to Glory yet in College Football 26?
I have not. I'm not about the single player mode. It just doesn't interest me too much.
That's totally fair, except that after you finish your high school season, you get to do exactly that with your choices, and you have all these different options of like lean and fake, or one of the moves is you can pick the head up and chuck it away. So you can pull that move as you're go ahead and getting recruited in your Road to Glory. So I'm glad that EA took the time to put that in.
Mike asking though, what has Lane done to warrant 90 million? And I'd say, what hasn't Lane done to warrant 90 million?
Right.
Like, he's one of the more entertaining coaches in college football. He's paid his penance. He had to coach for the Raiders. That was bad enough. I feel like he's clawed his way back from the embarrassment of his poor showing at USC when he was kind of the heir apparent there after our boy Pete left. So single moms, he does single moms. Jesse says, well, that too. But I don't know. If you're just talking about coaching, I think he's done a good enough job at Ole Miss to warrant the upgrade. And I think if you're Ole Miss, it's about as good as you could hope for as a Lane Kiffin. So it's a big loss for them. And LSU, I don't know how many. I know that you can get anybody you want, right? But like, how many big names are there that satisfy like the personality that you need, getting away from the personality you just had, and the ability to actually like coach and win football games? Like, how many of those guys are out there? If it takes 90 million to get them in your LSU, you probably just do it. Like,
and that's exactly what it is, man. He was in the right place at the right time, because there ain't nobody else out there. You think they're gonna give James Franklin that money? Please. Like, there's no one else out there that you're gonna lure. Even God, this is how desperate people are right now. I've even heard them talking about trying to lure what's his name, Nick Saban, out of retirement. Like, Nick Saban ain't going back to do this shit. Come on.
And Mike asking if making the playoff one time warrants 90 million. That's wild. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a little tough to make the playoff at Ole Miss, but I feel like that you extrapolate his success at Ole Miss over to LSU. Like, could you imagine them? Now, I mean, if he only makes one appearance there in the first 4 years he's there, my guess is he won't last very long. And we're talking about, well, that 90 million does. But me personally, if I'm looking around at who's available to give $90 million, there's not many names. So,
especially because you can look at it and he actually technically hasn't made the playoffs yet, even. Like, he still hasn't actually gotten the invite, and they're still putting him up this bag, right? And Jesse, again, chiming in, Lane needs to send a thank you basket to Cignetti in Indiana for blowing up the market. Like, it's true. That would be the only other name, but Indiana just threw him the bag. So, like, again, Mike, where are you going to go? If you're LSU, where are you going to go?
LSU. And I mean, LSU is smart enough to like get out in front of this. Like, you can see that reading the tea leaves that he was going to be the best probably coach available. If you're looking to spend that much money, like if you're going to have to pay to play, pay to win in this situation, like I don't know who else you could justify giving the $90 million to. Is Lane worth it? I don't know. Maybe, probably not. But I'd argue that no coach is worth $90 million no matter what they return. There's that.
Are you sure about that? I think there's one guy you would say is worth it. There's one name I can think of that Greg Kaiser would say, no, absolutely, he can get that 90.
Oh, Marcus Freeman?
Absolutely.
Well, I'd pay Marcus $90 million for other reasons than his coaching ability, but that's not there.
But he's not leaving God to do it either, so that's
true.
The difference. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I got to be honest. There's a part of me that wants to see Lane succeed, but then there's another part of me that's like, there's never any way you can live up to that size of a bag. Like, I mean, what would he have to do to make LSU fans happy at that price tag? 2 titles in 5 years?
Yeah, I would think at least 2 titles in the first 5 years, and playoff appearances in all 5 of those years. Like, exits that weren't short of the actual playoffs, not even just the home games, like any of the licensed bowl games that are the playoff games. Like anything short of those would be like
I'd see, and the thing is like $25 million is a lot for NIL. What are the other schools paying? Like, is that really that exorbitant? How much is that outpacing these other schools now?
I'm guessing that's probably up there. That's got to be up there, right? Like,
it's got to be. Yeah,
they're announcing it and featuring it as a part of the gig that it plays into it. I would imagine that most schools are probably spending around that money. So,
and didn't they just tell on
themselves? Jesse pointing out that 25 is the new cap starting in 26. So there you go.
They have a cap.
Maybe, I don't know.
When did that happen?
They're coming up with one. I mean, I heard that they were regulating something, but I didn't know if it was like, and that isn't it just a cap and like what the schools can spend individually, but that doesn't include like outside money. Like, and when I say that, I mean the boosters are just gonna. I think we kind of talked about this when the deal was made, but it's just like this is just gonna be more back. We're gonna go back to more backroom deals with boosters that are just gonna pay on the side, and they're gonna subvert the cap that way. Like schools like LSU and Ohio State and all that, like all the top schools with donors that don't care are just gonna go back to giving kids money, on the side. So cap be damned.
I mean, I'm for it. Whatever we need to go back to sacks of money, literal brown paper bags worth of money like that. That's what we need in college.
You want to bring back the bag man.
You know what wasn't happening when the bag man was around?
The economy. We need jobs. Like bring back the bag.
Right? Exactly. You see, we out here creating jobs. Not to mention we're protecting kids from getting stabbed. I don't see anything about this salary cap.
Mike asking, isn't that the revenue share cap and not NAL? But I don't know. Like I just vaguely remember us talking about or having a conversation about like how it was going to be more of a level playing field across college football. But I don't know what the breakdown was of how schools could, dole it out, or if some schools. I just know that the new mode was going to mean that Xavier was going to be able to compete again at signing guys, because now
really
other schools that like had backloaded and spent all this money on basketball in the last recent years before the restrictions came into place and before whatever this soft kind of cap is, means that they weren't going to be able to anymore. So it was going to be more of a level playing field again in basketball, or the way that the bigger schools are going to divert all their money to football. They're not going to have as much money for basketball. So it means, the basketball schools, quote unquote, can pull themselves back up.
Hey man, if it's good for Xavier, I'm here for it. Oh, Biscuit. Oh, come on. Biscuit chiming in saying, speaking of rev share, do you think Michigan leaves the Big Ten? Absolutely not.
No, I don't either. No. Yeah, that rumor coming out and that kind of gaining steam this week, and them like throwing that out there just reeks of them doing the old take my ball and go home type situation. Like they're not actually going to do it, but they're trying to say like, hey, we're here now. We mean just as much to this conference as anybody else, and we could leave. But the reality is they need the Big Ten as much as the Big Ten needs them. So
I mean, let's be honest.
I think that they're going to be able to do that.
If there's one thing that's true about people from Ann Arbor, they whine a lot and do little. So kind of like JJ McCarthy.
Okay, cool. And Jesse clarifying that whatever deal we're talking about there, that's pretty much dead because they're issue with tax exemption status of the schools. So whatever. Who knows?
I think it's talking about the Big Ten one, but here's the thing.
All I know is that $25 million.
Economics, and that's a lot.
I was going to say $25 million to spend on the kids and $90 million to put in your pocket is a lot of cheddar for one Lane Kiffin, one way or the other. But somebody's going to get it, right? Like
that's true. Why not Lane? If someone's got to get it, why not Lane, right? What a nice guy he is. Lane, if you need any help, just holler at me. I can do spreadsheets and stuff or break down tape. I mean, you can see all of that here on display in the way that we went ahead and really showcased going to halftime strong after that pick by the defensive lineman.
To execute like they have the whole first half, and he delivers. And
Exactly.
they build on
Executing
this lead
huge in the
and
first
build
half.
their momentum going into half.
I mean, look at this first half domination. Time of possession, absolutely key, Matt Barr. You know it's true, and it shows up not just here in the stats, but also on the scoreboard. So going into halftime, Tulane riding a big wave there. Pun not intended, but appreciated. So Lane
Fair
Kiffin's
enough.
going to get the bag. After that, what do we think about Kevin Stefanski also getting a bag from someone in the backroom deal? Because how else do you explain the fact that with under a minute left to go in the game, the Browns facing 4th down at the Raiders' 29-yard line, instead of kicking a field goal to go up 27-10, so that'd be 3 scores, Stefanski opted to punt. Yes, punt.
Where was the ball?
On the 29-yard line. His rationale was he didn't want the blocked field goal, because he just assumed his team was trash enough to get their field goal blocked, to be returned for a touchdown. So
What?
instead, he punted the ball, leaving the score at 24-10, meaning the under 35.5 hit. Yeah, so it's very
He's
clear
on the
something's
take.
going on. He's got to be on the take.
I mean, it's
you know.
Cleveland. They've had a rash of guys being on the take recently up in Cleveland. I say that this is a Cleveland conspiracy. We should check
Right.
all of their athletes and coaches up in Cleveland, because clearly there's something on the water up there. Well, we know because the river's on fire. Or
I mean,
was.
yeah, right, exactly. There's a reason it's a mistake on Lake. However, that mistake does lead to absolutely wonderful Christmas hail. Can't beat it.
That's
way around
true. That's true.
Really hard to go wrong.
But
yeah,
also,
Mike, you're
that seems entirely too fishy. Like
It's so absurd, right?
The circumstances, like I can't imagine any time you would punt and suggesting that your team would probably get a field goal blocked, like it was a predetermined outcome. Like, well, they definitely would have blocked it and then they could have returned it. Also, assuming that like there was no way that his team could, if the field goal did get blocked, or if the field goal somehow got returned because it was short, that nobody could stop the returner, and it's just inevitable that they were going to score a touchdown. I don't know. Seems mighty fishy.
Seems very fishy, very suspicious, especially considering, I believe, and again, correct me here, but isn't that basically an extra point? Like, didn't they already have to convert multiple extra points before that to I don't know, maybe warm up and be comfortable kicking from that distance and not getting it blocked? Here's the thing. I hope he's on the take, because the only other explanation is dude stroked out during the game and clearly didn't get the medical attention he needed, because there's no other explanation for that decision.
Yeah, no, well, I hope he was on the take, because at least he got money for doing something so stupid. Like, if I'm going to do something that's called into question and everybody can look at it from a football standpoint and say, that makes absolutely zero sense. Like, just the average fan can do the math or question that call and assume that there's something up. At least you get money for it.
Right. And
Mike wants to know if we noticed that DeWine said he regretted legalizing gambling. I did not see that, but with the way that the Ohio State legislature does everything and just repealing things that the voters want, or doing things at their own discretion, and then saying, oh, you guys were just too dumb to know what the measure was, or you didn't understand the law. I'm not shocked. Yeah, not shocked to hear that DeWine would want to take away gambling. I mean, me personally, I don't do the gambling thing, so it's not that big of a deal. But the idea that it's brought any sort of problems other than to the doorstep of the likes of Class A. I mean, I feel like it's to the state, so.
Oh, okay, good. Spectrum sack. For a minute there, I got a little worried. I was like, this is going to be great. Running solo.
Oh, did I cut out for a second?
Just a little bit of a tunnel, but it's fine. I think really what it is the mob is getting a little mad that you're calling them out and everyone's being put on blast for everybody in Cleveland sports being on the take. Or do you don't go? Here's another thought. Did he do it to keep the heat off Shedeur Sanders, knowing that after a win in his first rookie start, that could be a lot of attention, a lot of spotlight for the young kid as he eases into becoming an NFL starting quarterback?
Now that would be quite the controversy or turn of events after everybody was suggesting that the Cleveland Browns were trying to sabotage his career and that the NFL in general doesn't want him to succeed. The idea that Stefanski would try to take the heat off of him. Maybe it was, hey man, he had such a crazy debut. His house got broken into. I'm gonna do him a solid. I'm gonna make a very questionable coaching decision. I'm gonna get paid. I'm gonna be on the take, but this way.
Right.
Off Shador, and they won't even focus on how he's playing. They'll be more worried about the fact that I made money off of a questionable coach.
If he was smart too, he would not only get cut in from the mob, but he would also go, "Hey, Shador, break me off a piece because I just did you a favor." Speaking of which, dude, Colorado's so bad.
Oh,
they lost by 30 again this last weekend, man. Like,
I saw that, but this is and that's that's at the end of this season after they've got drubbed a bunch of times. And didn't Dion like shut down press conferences like at the beginning of the year as far as like talking to the players post game? So like none of them have spoken in the media since like week 1 or the preseason or whatever.
Yeah, they lost 42-17 to Arizona State to move them to 3-8, but 1-7 in the Big 12.
So we talk about Lane. We talk about Lane and whether or not he deserves the money and everything. But seeing the scores, knowing that Shador is gone, you lost Travis Hunter, like all the juice that Dion had when getting to Colorado and sustaining that for those first 2 years. How long does Colorado run with this experiment? Like, what's the longevity of this? Because I gotta say, if he has another season like this, you get a mulligan. It's like, okay, you lost the Heisman Trophy winner, you're the starting quarterback. They lost like 5 or 6 other guys to the league too. That's fine. You understand there's turnover and all that, but all the shine is kind of worn off. Even with the Heisman Trophy winner and your son, that quarterback, he still didn't win anything of note. Now they're gone. You get the year past that. Like, is the heat turned up way high on Dion next season? Like going into next season, is he on the hot stove?
I got to tell you, he's
the hot seat.
There's probably some clinching. There's probably some puckering going on. Just kind of like how there was on the sideline with Tulane after the shank late in the game, trying to go up 2 scores.
If you kick a field goal, you make it a 2-possession game here in the second half, and I think that's the right decision.
4th and 3. But look at this. Don't even need passing icons. We still convert. That's right. Take it down to the 3-yard line. We're under 3 minutes. Chip shot field goal. Easy shot. I mean, look at that. Right in the middle of the dial. Medium power. That's going in. That's a gimme. Nope. Doinked it right off the left upright. This is a kid who doesn't deserve his NIL. That's for goddamn sure. So I'm thinking there's a little puckering going on over there in where are they?
Colorado.
Boulder. That's right, Boulder. Yeah.
I think it's like you meant where in Colorado? Columbine.
Yeah. Not quite a 9/11 reference, but still maybe keeps the streak alive. I don't know, but
Google it, kids.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of puckering and Mike pointing out quickly. Yeah, probably should have punted. That field goal could have been blocked to return for a touchdown. So, yeah, that could have been bad. That could have been a real tough turn for the Tulane Green Wave. Stay tuned though to see how it turns out. Speaking of staying tuned, people are going to tune in here coming up in the next NFL Hall of Fame class. We've got a roster here. You want to go down the list here, Greg? I'll read off the first-time guys, and then we can cover some other notable ones. But we've got Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers on their first ballot. Your one and only Frank Gore. Hey-o. Larry Fitzgerald and Jason Witten also eligible for the first time. So out of those 5, how many over under 2.5? How many of them make it this voting cycle?
You said just the top 5 on quarterbacks and running backs. Is that what we're looking at?
No. Out of the 5 first-year eligible, so Brees, Rivers, Frank Gore, Larry Fitzgerald, Jason Witten. Out of those 5 first-year players, who do you think over under 2.5? How many are getting in?
I'm going 3 because I'm taking Gore, Brees, and Fitzgerald. I don't care what anybody says about Frank. He's a Hall of Famer, and I think first ballot. I think he's going in.
Okay. Do you think Jason Witten gets in eventually?
Yes, because I think the tight end threshold is kind of lower, and so
Yeah.
I don't know that Jason Witten is necessarily a Hall of Famer, but the lack of top end tight ends across the history of football probably means that he's in because of that. I don't think first year though. That would be weird to see first year, but I do think that he'll end up in the Hall of Fame.
They'll pull the baseball writers thing and make him wait it out, right? Like,
Well,
not first ballot.
I was just gonna say though, like baseball and football, the Hall of Fame is so much different, and the first ballot thing doesn't carry as much weight. Like as far as I can tell, the voters for the NFL Hall of Fame are less goofy. Yeah, exactly. Over because the football Hall of Fame ain't picky bitches like the baseball writers, according to Biscuit. Yeah, that's for sure. Like, I think a lot of the names just in general on the list of people that are eligible right now, like I would have a hard time arguing against any of them. Like Matt Barr pointed out in the Discord on the football chat, the conversation about surrounding this, that the only argument that he would have against any name on this list was Hines Ward. And I feel like that's the correct take. Like, I don't think I could make a reasonably sound argument against anybody else on the list. If you told me that they were going to be in the Hall of Fame at some point, I would be like, yeah, that sounds about right. But Hines Ward, I don't think I would give that distinction to.
You really feel like Marshall Yonda should get in, huh?
Yeah.
Don't have a problem with Richmond Webb?
No.
Okay. No clue who those dudes are. Wait, so
that's offensive line, right?
Yeah, Richmond Webb, Marshall Yonda are both.
I was gonna say Marshall
linemen.
Yonda. I remember offensive line, but I was gonna say the Marshall Webb one.
Okay.
I'm guessing he is an offensive lineman.
Yeah, Lomas Brown, I remember him. Steve Wisniewski. I mean, that he just sounds.
Jesse
like
pointing
lineman.
out that Hines Ward was in a Batman movie, though. He was also in an episode of The Walking Dead, which I think he's uncredited, but he was in an episode of The Walking Dead as a zombie, all made up and stuff. So
I can't help but think his association with
maybe Hines Ward's
case.
Yeah, Hines Ward's accolades acting wise are better than anybody on this list currently. How about that?
Philip Rivers Hall of Fame, though, huh?
Compiler.
That one's tough for me.
That is tough.
Fred
Like
Taylor,
said,
a bit of a stretch, but
he's in the Father Hall of Fame just for breeding so many children.
I know, right? So many children. He needed to rent a van just to get away from him. Begrudgingly, Adam Vinatieri, I think he gets in as well.
Yeah, again,
defensive line
standards.
Yeah, defensive line. We got Robert Mathis, Vince Wilfork, Kevin Williams. Kevin sounds like a nice guy. Might as well let him in, I guess. Don't know him or Robert Mathis for that matter. Linebackers, Luke Kuechly, Terrell Suggs. I don't know why they didn't get in on the first ballot personally, but
yeah, that seems weird. I would those would be no-brainers for me, both of them.
Other ones, defensive backs, Rodney Harrison, Earl Thomas, Darren Woodson. Again, those all seem like no-brainers, but I don't know. Does football have that limitation of like you can only pick 10 or something each year?
I think there's 5. I think you can only vote on 5. So I think that's how they keep it artificially small.
Okay.
Gotcha. That's the other thing I could think of as to why those guys wouldn't be on there as like a lock, is that there's a limit on how many that you can vote for. So
fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I don't know. Jason, yeah, I guess you're right. I'm trying to think who are other tight end Hall of Famers. Tony Gonzalez. That one dude from the Pittsburgh Steelers with the Immaculate Reception. Anyone else?
You got Shannon Sharp.
Ugh. You have to. I mean, really?
I mean, you know.
Okay. So again, just buying us a little bit of time here. Mike did put in the rundown that we could do the Wiseguys top 10. Where's the production, Joe? Oh, hold on. All right, don't worry. We got a clip. Just as we thought that Tulane was going to have this thing locked up, Florida came rolling back. Their first touchdown of the game, 41 seconds
They'll
left.
try
in the
to
fourth
tie
quarter.
it up
That's
with
great.
the two
Florida
late.
finally got in the end zone. You want to talk about puckering. Puckering all across the board here as they go for two. Look at that green wave D-line stand up. Stuff the running back.
But they need the ball
But
back.
wait, it
They'll
gets
line up
better.
for the onside kick.
And I would say this is where
This bullshit. They recover a fucking onside kick. When does that ever work? For the love of God. And of course, it's in the last 41 seconds
in that
of the
game,
I swear,
in that game,
yeah.
every time the computer needs one is the answer to that.
Oh, well, it makes me feel a little bit better about it. But no, it doesn't.
It happened to me
There
the
was
other
41
day.
seconds left.
It happened to me the other day in a playoff game, and I called it. I was like, "Oh, the computer's about to get one of these onside kicks." They almost got back-to-back onside kicks. So that's how cheap the computer is in the game.
I have never been so close to throwing the controller as an adult as in that moment. Because I don't know if you noticed it, and I don't know if this is uncouth for our league or whatever, but it got to the point where Florida's last drive was like, fuck it. I'm just going to, I can't even play the defense and be the one that screws this up. Let the computer march down the field. And then, of course, the sim scores in that play. So I'm like, all right, we got to hop in here and try to prevent the 2-point conversion to preserve the win. I'm like, all right, cool. We stuffed them there. This has got to be it. All we got to do is get the onside kick. We're good. We'll run it out. No, naturally, of course, EA does what it has to do to cover itself up and recovers the onside kick. We've got one more clip to show you what happens at the end of the game, but the best part of this is we have a real professional here to help us break this down. Scott, why don't you go? Or I'm sorry. Wow. Notice Greg. I made it 61 minutes before I pulled that off. Greg, why don't you go ahead and tee this up for us?
Well, without further ado, now joining us is going to be the legendary son of the legendary head coach, Joe Paterno. We have now joining us Jay Paterno, the author of the book Blitzed, the all-out pressure of college football's new era. Jay, thank you for joining us.
Good to be here.
We appreciate it. How's it going?
Good. You know, just pretty good day. Last couple of games are pretty good here in Happy Valley.
Wow, that's good. Talk to us what's going on out there in Happy Valley. We obviously know things happened with James Franklin this year. Didn't go the way anybody was hoping for there. But could you talk to us about the decision that ultimately came to let James go?
Well, I'm on the board of trustees at Penn State, but we were not involved in that decision. Pat Kraft, our athletic director, came to the conclusion that it was time to make a change. And so he went ahead and did that. Now that's been several weeks ago now. So we're still kind of in that what comes next mode right now. But the energy in the program has really picked up. Interim head coach Terry Smith has done an outstanding job. I mean, he's gone 2-3, but they lost to Iowa by 1 out there in his first game, and they lost to Indiana on a circus catch at the end of that one, or otherwise Penn State could have been 4-1 in that stretch and 7-4 right now instead of 5-6. So they've done a good job rallying the troops, and they go to Rutgers this week. So we'll see what happens. But I think they just reached a point where the athletic director and some people around the program felt it was time to make a change.
Yeah, I understand that. And obviously the bar is set really high and the expectations are super high there at Penn State to win and win at the highest level. We've seen the job opening come up down there at LSU, and there's a couple of other openings, and we know there'll be a couple of more once the season officially ends. Where would you put Penn State, the head coaching job in today's college football landscape? Like, where does it stand?
Well, I think this university has made tremendous commitment financially. Our football budget was in the top 5 nationally. Our recruiting football budget is in the top 5 nationally. Our salary structure is in the top 5 nationally. We sit within 3.5, 4 hour drive of some major recruiting areas. New Jersey's always been very, very good. Eastern Pennsylvania, Western PA, Eastern Ohio. You get into DC, Baltimore, Northern Virginia. And 5 or 6 hours in the car gets you into Tidewater area of Virginia. And those areas are going to give you enough players to form a baseline. And then you go pick a couple of kids off nationally. So I think it's a great situation. The fan support is incredible. The environment here is incredible. The tradition is, it's one of the top programs in the country traditionally. So I think it's a great situation, and I think it's of the ones that are open, it's the one I'd take. But I'm a little biased, obviously. But I mean, to me, it's a sane fan base. Not that others aren't, but there's some that are a little crazier than others.
You don't have to tiptoe around. We know Ohio State fans are crazy. Like we're in Ohio, and we aren't necessarily fans ourselves, but we know how rabid and irrational their fan base can be sometimes. So, you mentioned the budget there at Penn State. What are your thoughts about NIL and how it's kind of changed the game, and how has it like changed the way that Penn State kind of operates within that realm?
Well, I mean, you have to operate in it whether you want to or not. I'm an old school guy that would love to see us, in some ways, you reminisce for what was, but it's never going there. We have to be realistic about what we're doing now. I mean, the Big Ten gets $1.1 billion a year in media rights. This is not an extracurricular activity that anybody does just for fun, good old state anymore. So you got to be realistic about what you are. So you got to play the game. A couple of years ago, we didn't even have a collective in NIL, and I got together with some other alums and put together a group that started the first collective, and that one has now merged into the main collective, along with some other people. So we've gotten into it, and we've done a good job with it. But there's always going to be someone that gives a little bit more, maybe, or can offer a little more, and you got to figure out how you allocate your resources. I think that's the challenge. In college football now, it's a little bit like you have a payroll in Major League Baseball or whatever it may be. And look, there's going to be schools that have more money than they know what to do with. And then there's going to be people like us that are in that next tier. So you got to look at Penn State. We have to look at it and say, okay, are we the Yankees, Dodgers, Red Sox? Probably not. Are we the Phillies? Yeah, we're probably in that next tier in terms of NIL. Which means you got to be a little bit smarter. You got to make some decisions that are a little bit sharper, and you got to figure out. We're not in a Moneyball situation. We're not the Pittsburgh Pirates payroll. We're certainly not that. But I mean, we have enough resources to compete for national championship. We just you got to figure out what you want to spend it on.
Gotcha. All right. Well, and let's talk about the book a little bit. I mean, we talk about NIL and the pressures there, but what other pressures are there in today's modern game that, like, you didn't have to necessarily deal with, or your father didn't have to deal with? What are the ones that you'd say those are the keys to winning and staying consistently on top?
Well, I think the transfer portal, the ability for a guy just to say I'm gone, without even having a conversation. I talk about that in the book, where literally, this head coach is sitting there and one of his players tweets that he's gone. And it's like, oh, well, it would have been nice to know that. Or have a conversation about it, or what needs to happen. So the pressures as it relates to recruiting, when you go in and recruit a kid now, you're dealing with, there's an agent involved. There's all kinds of people around that want to know how much money. And it's not a situation where, 10 years ago, you went and said, here's your room, board, books, and tuition. Here's your full scholarship, and that's all you can give you. Now, certainly there were schools that were giving more than that illegally. There were bags showing up and money showing up. And some people were, you go back, there were churches that would have a needy family fund, and the star running back happened to be the needy family, and the reverend was taking a little cut of the needy family fund, and they would get your alums to give money to the needy family fund if you were willing to do that. That certainly happened, and even so, back then it was a little bit more of a level playing field. Now it's not just what's the scholarship, it's, well, what's the revenue share number and what's the NIL number, and can you put that all in a contract in writing for us? And even still, from year to year, we can bounce wherever we want and get more money. So those are things that they're dealing with now. And I think the reality is we're still, even though there was the House versus the NCAA settlement, which was supposed to set this in stone and what the revenue sharing is, it's still not settled, because the reality is the next lawsuit is going to change it again. We're bouncing from lawsuit decision to lawsuit decision. As a trustee, I've advocated that, and we're having conversations with for the first time, really, with trustees at Michigan, at Ohio State, at USC, at other schools, and we're starting to say, wait a minute, let's sit down and figure out a structure for what college athletics is going to look like going forward. I think that's going to be important.
Mookie, you
So
want to
kinda-
jump in there?
Yeah, I was gonna say, kind of building off of that too. How far away do you think we are at another one of those watershed moments? And do you think you're going to see the pendulum swing back to something that there's a little bit more regulation, a little bit more structure? Like you hear Saban on game day saying we've got to get some sort of calendar where there's a little bit more predictability around this stuff. Or do you think there's another move to make this even more wide open, where the game's going to continue to evolve to be more about the economics, and it's going to be less and less student athlete and more semi-pro sports?
I think the reality is this: most coaches and most ADs will tell you privately they would like to see some sort of collective bargaining where there is a regimen where all of a sudden, okay, we go sign the best player out of Glenville High School in Cleveland, and he's signing a 3-year deal with us or whatever, and there's a structure involved and everything. And if he wants to leave, then we have to have a conversation. We got to stabilize. And look, as an old school guy, I hate to talk in these terms, but the reality is we have to find a way to stabilize the labor market. And because that's what it is. Now, it's funny because you barely hear anybody talking about the academic side of it. And are there academic incentives on these contracts when you get in the collective bargaining situation, which there should be. But I think the next lawsuit is going to be, there'll be somebody whose son was not party to the House versus the NCAA settlement as that class action suit, and says, well, why does my son have to adhere to a revenue sharing cap that he wasn't party to? The heck with that. I want my son to be able to go out and get whatever he wants, and the heck with your revenue sharing cap, and they'll sue and they'll win. So I think until we as universities sit across from student athletes and say, look, think about the collective bargaining, it's going to protect the student athlete, but it's also going to protect the school. It's a two-way street. And the sooner athletes and schools learn that, that's reality. Life is a two-way street. You go to the NFL, it's a two-way street. You don't go to the NFL and you go get a job, it's a two-way street. You got to perform and you have to adhere to what you agree to do. So I think the sooner we get to that, the better it's going to be. And these are some of the conversations that people on governing boards are starting to have now because no one else wants to have them.
So and it's funny, one of the comments in the chat from our fellow co-host Mike saying, "How can there be collective bargaining without a players' union?" So are you thinking that's the way we're headed to see players' unions? And
he is 100% right, and that's and I probably should. That's I think where we're headed. I think there's going to be a situation where there is some sort of players' union. Again, not something that I would have advocated 4, 5, 6 years ago, but you got to be realistic. I think the reality is there's an old joke about, a Catholic priest is having a confession. A woman comes in and says, look, I had an affair with someone who was not my husband for $100,000. And the priest says, would you have done it for $10,000? She says, what kind of person do you think I am? Well, we know what, we know what we are. The question is, where does it land and what does it cost us? And that's what we've got to get to here in college sports. And it's not just football. Basketball certainly is this way. Well, I'm very close friends with the women's volleyball coach at Penn State that just won the national championship.
Yep.
When they recruit players, they're dealing with agents. Soccer, men's soccer, women's soccer, you name it. They're all starting to deal with representatives and people that are saying, what's the number for me? What's the revenue share number? What's the NIL number? So it's just hitting every sport now.
Mm-hmm. With that in mind, and someone else, Jesse chimed in and said soccer contracts, transfer fees for everyone. What if you had to pick a sport out there right now, whether it's major league, minor league, whatever? What structure, what system do you think college sports or athletics might land on? In terms of it, maybe be more like Major League Baseball, or will it be more like the NFL? Where do you kind of see all that headed?
I don't know if there's that much difference between all of them. I know the MLS, I don't know if it's still the case or not, but I know up until recently, the players were signing contracts with the league. And I think that's where this will head, where there's going to be a central clearinghouse they'll sign the contracts. But the question, and some of that was coming through in this proposed the proposed private capital deal with the Big Ten, where they would create a Big Ten Enterprises, where the athletes would be signing contracts with Big Ten Enterprises, the ones that play within the Big Ten. So I think that's probably where this heads, so that there is some transparency and there can be some governance where people say, okay, this contract is legit, this one's not. And that way you can kind of protect the student athletes from certain contracts. I think the contract will become fairly boilerplate in terms of everybody will have the same kind of structures, other than one might say, well, I want to, coming out of high school, I'm the best quarterback in the country. I'm going to sign with Alabama for 1 year. Well, if I'm not the best quarterback in the country, then they can cut me loose after a year. So maybe I want to sign for 3 years to protect myself. So we'll see all those things, but I think there'll be a central, I think right now, I would have to bet there'll probably be something centralized.
Well, and do you have, I don't know, and this is not necessarily an answer, but it's like on the one side, you've got the players and trying to figure out the NIL money and the structure for all that. And on the other side, obviously with Franklin and the rumors out there now that LSU is offering Lane Kiffin potentially $90 million. Like, what about the coaching contract side of it, where these guys are getting huge money numbers up front, and then the buyouts are huge on the back end? So then they're essentially getting paid to not coach or to look for another job or whatever. Like, how do you reconcile that along with the NIL? Because I feel like they're both just as big of an issue, because you can't have these guys that are making all this money to not coach or just on their potential of coaching, while we're also saying, well, but we've also got to eliminate we've got to figure out things for the players. So, like, how do you reconcile those two things?
Well, I think the reality is there's going to have to be a restructuring and a recalibration of the coaching salaries once you start getting into it. And we got to be realistic. There's going to be a coach somewhere that says, you know what, I'm going to take $4 or $5 million a year. I can get by on that. I can eke out a living on $4 or $5 million a year, and take that extra
Shohei
6 or 7 or 8 or 10 or 12, whatever million that's there, and put it towards player acquisition, whether it's NIL money, whatever it may be. Someone really smart is going to do that, and say, you know what, I'll make my money, over time rather than all at once. But I think there's no question. I think the reality is that the economics of college athletics right now, it's not sustainable. When you look at a place, I'll take an example of Penn State, and these are all public numbers, so I'm not giving you, inside info or privileged information. But the reality is, our football in the last 12 years, our expenses have gone from $21.5 million a year to almost $65 million. And the staffing has gone from roughly 33, 34 employees to 75, 80 employees, at a time when all this analytics and AI and all these things are supposed to make us more efficient. We're tripling the size of staffs. So I think there's going to have to be some rescaling, because if you look at Penn State, if you go back to what I mentioned 12 years ago, the Big Ten was putting in about our ticket sales, concessions, parking, things like that. If you took that, forget the TV money, just that alone was neighborhood of $48 to $50 million, and our expenses were 21.5. Okay, so just playing the games without TV, there was a big profit being made there. If you fast forward to the last reporting that we did, we were doing about $62 million in concessions, parking, all that kind of stuff, and spending 65. So we're not even covering our expenses. So that's where the TV money's become so important. So we're actually taking money from the TV contracts to pay our bills in football. That's not going to be sustainable. And that's before a $16 or $17 million bill for revenue sharing this year. And you start talking about those things, and the numbers just aren't realistic. And you show me any other, we do, including the TV allocation that we give to our football budget. Our football budget is about $105 million. Whereas our head coach, James Franklin's contract was making $8.5 to $9 million with bonuses, a little over $9. You'd be hard pressed to find any other business model in the world where one employee was making 9% of every dollar that came in the door. I mean, they're not profit, 9% of every dollar. So I think there'll be some recalibration. But the agents are going to go out and try and sign long-term deals so that doesn't become part of it.
So what's harder, coaching on the sidelines or writing a book?
Depends on what day you ask me. No.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, look, I wrote a book about my dad, which was, it was nonfiction. It was, life story. That wasn't as hard because, the things that are true and you write them and you have your memories and you put them down. When you start writing novels, which I've done the last 2 times, and you base it, one of the things I did was, one of the reasons I wrote these 2 books in novel, Hot Seat and Blitzed in novel form, was, the stories that I've amassed and experienced in coaching for 22 years, as well as consulting in NIL and talking to people all over the country about what's going on currently. If I had written that as nonfiction and named names, my car probably would have been blown up Youngstown style, with me in it, or I would have spent all my life with lawyers. It's just the way it is. So I made them novels. But the tough thing about writing novels is you got to keep people's names straight. You got to remember who said what, when, and where. And one of the things I did, and you got to make sure that it's not too close. If something happened at school X, you got to move it to school Z, and you got to make sure it's not necessarily identifiable as school X, because otherwise, the guy with school X who told you the story is going to call you up and say, "I can't believe you put that in your book." So you got to do those kind of things. But I'll give you an example. So, coaching obviously is harder. It's a lot more fun. You have less control. But the book stuff, if you look at the staff on this, I said it at Ohio State, the book at Ohio State for the fictional coach, because I had recruited that state for 17 years and was familiar with it. And I've, gotten to know Urban Meyer really, really well over 20 years and become friends. So I had a lot of great reference points there to write the book. But the reality is that, you take a look at the staff in that book and the initials of each coach, like the special teams coach, his initials are ST. The running back coach is RB, so that I could keep everybody straight.
So what I think I hear you saying is you're playing in that gray area. It's a gray area, and sometimes you can use that to your advantage to keep things straight. Really curious though, and again, if you need to use acronyms or whatever to protect face, but I'm very curious, when you were coaching or you were competing, who was that one coach or that one school that you saw him on the other side, like, we got to get this W today, guys. This is the one that matters most to me. Who or which school was that?
It was always the next one. But I know that's an evasive answer, but I will tell you, it's in the Big Ten. In the Big Ten, I mean, when you played Ohio State, you knew you were in for, whether it was when Tressel was there, you knew they were going to be prepared. You knew that it was going to come down to, making sure that, you didn't make the big mistake in the game. You had to make sure that 2002, when they won the national championship, we had a 3rd and long coming out of our own end. Our defense was dominating their offense. And, I was calling place time. We took a deep shot to try and get a first down. Chris Gamble picks it off, runs it back in. We lose by 6. If we don't throw the interception, punt the ball away, we probably win the game. Now, that said, you fast forward to 2005, 2008, we had similar situations. We knew our defense was handling their offense, so we ran draws or we did things that were a little safer, so we didn't make the big mistake that cost us the game. And so those are the things you learn, but you knew they were always going to be prepared when you went to play them. When Barry Alvarez was at Wisconsin, you knew you better buckle up, and you didn't want to, you had to be careful in that they were one of those teams that win or lose against them, it was so physical, you ran the risk of losing the next week because you were tired, because these big dudes are just leaning on you, hitting you, those kind of things. And, so you have to learn your way through a conference like that and figure out how to handle those things. But, certainly Michigan, everybody who didn't go to Michigan hates them. Can I say Michigan on the show? Do I have to say the team up north?
Look,
no, you're great. We don't have allegiances to either school. And honestly, if you're giving me a choice, I'll take Michigan, because surrounded by Ohio State fans, I deal with them less. So,
I grew up in Ann Arbor as a Notre Dame fan, so I couldn't stand them. I've been in Ohio the last 20 years. Now, give or take, right? I'd coin flip. If there's a way they could both draw and get eliminated from contention, that'd be my choice. But yeah, you say whatever you want, my man.
Well, I will tell you, you mentioned Notre Dame. When I was a kid, and even going into my playing days at Penn State, We played Notre Dame home and home 12 times, and we won 8 of them. But I mean, it was always a great game. And when you look at those years, 82, we beat them, we go play for them.
Oh no!
Oh no! Okay, I thought that was me. I'm like, oh
No,
crap.
shoot!
Uh-oh. We may have lost Jay there.
We need to get more minutes. We need to get more minutes on the card.
Maybe
You know what?
he'll pop back in.
I was gonna say maybe we can vamp, but we'll show how Tulane closes this out.
Win this game.
They're going to throw it to start the drive. Unloads to the wideout.
Thankfully, the Tulane defense is making a play because the ball don't lie, Scott or Greg. That's right, the ball don't lie. I mean, look at this. We get the Mardi Gras beads one last time here in the game. Offense gets to take a knee and run out that clock. And that's right, baby. The green wave goes into the swamp and just washes those Gators out. I mean, this is just a poor thrown ball. Like, why are you throwing late over the top, over the middle like that? That's just weak. Absolutely weak. But Tulane doing what it takes to get the W. And just like that, Jay is right back here with us. Perfect timing. Vamp just enough as we try to sort out the layout. Scott, I'll click the buttons. You tee us up with the next question.
Yeah, I was gonna say one last question before we kind of let you get out of here, Jay. You talked about Tressel, and he's the lieutenant governor here, and you once ran for lieutenant governor there in Pennsylvania. So we asked you, would you write a book or be coaching? Would you rather be coaching or dealing with the crap that is going on in Washington, D.C.?
Listen, I hats off to Jim. I mean, and I've known Jim a long time, and Jim's a really good guy, really sharp. And but he could. I was thinking about running for it. There was a challenge to me being on the ballot, and just to show you, it was going to be a 6-figure lawsuit to figure out the ballot thing. And I said, you know what, I'm not wasting that kind of money for a job that pays you, that doesn't pay. You're just pissing money away at that point. But I'll tell you, I think there's some real challenges. Some of the politics stuff would be fun, but it's not real reasonable right now. I have been approached a number of times about getting involved in running for office. From the time, in 2008, I was a surrogate speaker for the Obama campaign, went around the state and did some things for him. And so a lot of people wanted to try and get me involved in politics. So, at one point, there was people trying to get me to run for Congress. So the rumors started flying around. So I said, I better go tell my boss, that this is not true. And so I went and sat down with my dad, and who was my boss at the time. And I said, hey, just want to let you know, there's some rumors out there. I certainly have had a conversation or two, but I don't think I'm going to do it. I want to stay coaching. So the next fall, we're getting ready for a whiteout game. And I think it was Michigan or whatever it was. It was 2010 or whatever it was. And we're going through pregame warmups, and there's time where the quarterbacks are just throwing and getting loose and the kind of stuff. And the place is loud as can be. And somebody taps me in the back of my shoulder. It's my dad. I turn around. He goes, hey, you still think about that politics crap? I'm like, what? He goes, he starts pointing around all the noise and all they said. He goes, this would be hard to give up, wouldn't it? I go, yeah, it would. Yeah, it would. But I mean, when you put on the headset on game day, and you start calling plays and you're in that flow, I mean, the adrenaline rush you get from that is unlike any. Now, I've never obviously, I've never done cocaine, heroin, and all. God knows what else drugs are out there. But I can't imagine it's any better than the rush you get from that, the adrenaline rush that you get from that. And when you finish a game and you win a game, especially a comeback win, things like that. I mean, like if I died and went to heaven and God said, look, you get to coach one more scenario before I send you to hell where you belong. It would be, we'd have the ball at our own 23, 24 yard line. It'd be on the road at a place like Ohio State or some place like that, or Michigan or Alabama. And we'd be down 4. We'd have a timeout or 2, and it would be I gotta navigate and get the win, because those are the games. I mean, those are the wins you remember more than anything else in the world. When you had to pull it out of the fire, and guys were stuck together and believed and went down the field and did that. And I was fortunate to coach some quarterbacks that were really, really good at it too, as well, that understood it. So no question, I'd rather coach than get involved in politics.
All right, you set this up too nicely. I'd prepped this just as kind of a fun thing to do, but now that you're here, I can't pass up this moment because Tulane was playing Florida, and we were on the ropes, coach, and we stuck. So I pulled some all 22 type footage here with the pre-snap read, and just break it down here. What do you see going on here as Florida's approaching the line of scrimmage? Take the snap, drop back, about to release the ball. I mean, I don't see him open. Would you throw this ball even? Because, I mean, sure enough, as a result, Tulane with the pick to lead them to the win. I mean, is there any way that could have been avoided?
It's really small on my phone, and I'm like, if I were like 14 years old, I could probably pick that out. But at my age, I need a telescope to look at that.
Oh, no, I appreciate you playing along, though. I just like, just coming on tonight. I got to do some special for him, break him down, give it a chance to see what he sees there.
The thing about it is that it's so easy from up above to see it. The thing is, when you're standing there, there's pass rush, there's hands up, there's all kinds of stuff in your way, ground level, that you don't see, and that makes it really tough. But it happens so fast. And I think that's one of those things that it's become tougher and tougher, the downfield stuff. When you look at some of the completion percentages the guys are putting up right now, you look at, early in the year when I broke down, I have a TV show called Nittany Game Week where we'll break down film and look at things, and we do pass distribution charts. And there were games where Drew Aller was throwing 12 of 24 passes to people that were on the line of scrimmage or behind, with wide receiver screens, running back screens, shovel passes. I mean, these guys throw these little flip passes on the jet sweep from the shotgun.
Yep.
Guy goes 40 yards and gets a touchdown. You're 1 for 1 for 40 and a touchdown, and your quarterback efficiency rating goes through the roof. I'm like, that's not a pass.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish they had been doing that crap when I was playing. I'd been an all-star.
Right.
Well, Jay, we know you're short on time, and we want to get you out of here, whatever. But we just got one more thing that we like to do with all our guests. This is our quick hitter segment. We just
before we jump to that, Scott, anything else you want to plug? Anything else you want to cover? Anything else you want to promote about the book? Where should people look to find it? Anything else like
we
that?
do the quick hitter questions, dude. God, you sit over there.
All right.
We're going to do the quick hitter questions first, and then we'll let you plug.
Okay,
right?
okay.
Sounds
Mookie
good.
Here, since you want to ask, you go ahead and ask him the quick hitter questions. And again, Jay, just whatever it is.
I'll give you the quick hit answers, too.
Yep, first
Perfect.
answer that comes to your mind. Go ahead, Mook.
Plain cake donuts, yay or nay?
No.
All right,
No,
Jordan.
But I need some cream filled. I need like gunk.
My man,
yeah.
need some flavor.
There we go. Yes.
And if you're gonna ask me Stones or Beatles, it's Stones every day. By the way. Rolling Stones.
All right. Well, we'll add that one.
Add that one to the list.
Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan. And I saw LeBron play in high school. I saw him when he was a ninth grader playing football. I love LeBron. Not Jordan. I saw LeBron. I love LeBron, but if you're in the NBA Finals, that man was a killer.
Yes.
Yep. Bat flips, yay or nay?
Not my thing, but I get it.
Okay. Do you button your shirt?
If you said, would I rather dunk or be able to crank one out of a ballpark? Crank one out of a ballpark. And I would probably bat flip.
Man.
Okay.
there it is. So there's the answer.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you button your shirt from the top down or bottom up?
I think it varies day to day, actually. I've never given that much thought.
That's fair.
Sometimes I'll just unbutton one or two and just pull them over, which is completely cheating.
Solid.
Again, that's another answer we get more often than we would have thought. Topanga Lawrence or Kelly Kapowski?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know who that is. That may be a function of my age.
Boy Meets World and then Saved by the Bell shows from the 90s there.
I'm too old for that, dude.
That's fair. Do you zip your pants and then button, or do you button and then zip when putting them on?
Zip then button.
Okay. All right. Are IPAs just pumpkin spice lattes for white dudes?
As a guy stopped drinking a while ago, who occasionally will have a beer just to taste it, yeah, it's definitely a white dude thing.
Okay,
Yes.
fair.
Look, I know a bunch of guys I coached, and as one guy I coached said, he goes, "Coach, none of us brothers even know what an IPA is."
Yeah, fair. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No, because it's on a no.
Correct.
But it's awesome. And I am not opposed to ketchup on. I will put ketchup on mine. So all those people in Chicago, they'd say no ketchup.
But they'd be wrong.
Just leave me alone. Heinz ketchup is the greatest condiment in the world.
Chicken wings, all drums or all flats?
I'd rather have all drums, but I'll eat them all.
I'll respect that answer too. Pineapple or Hawaiian pizza, yay or nay?
No. I'm a true Dago. No way.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke. Every day.
All right. Yep. It's go time. Leaving the socks on or taking the socks off?
It's what time?
It's time to get down to business, right?
Go
Marvin Gaye
time.
in the back.
Go time.
Yeah, it's go time.
Depends on how cold it is and whether we're inside or outside.
That's a good answer. That's well thought out. All right.
As a guy with 5 kids,
He knows.
Do what you got to do. Respect that. And then last question, especially because it's that time of year, and this one, no pressure. This is make or break. This is 4th and goal at the 7, 1 second left on the clock. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
no.
Yes!
All right.
He nailed it.
All right. Jay Paterno.
No, not even close. By the way, it's funny, there's only one Christmas movie as far as I'm concerned anymore, and it's Elf.
Okay.
Solid.
Okay.
Solid.
All right.
If I have
Respect
one,
that.
if you tied me to a poll and said you get to watch one Christmas movie from now until Christmas, it's gonna be Elf every time.
That's a solid choice. Solid choice.
All righty, Jay. You wrote Blitz. We're sure you got all sorts of places where we can find you in the socials. Tell everybody where they can find the book and where they can find you.
It's on you get on my website, jvpaterno.com, JAY, the letter V, paterno.com. It's on Amazon, bookstores, you name it. You can find it just about anywhere. I mentioned my website on Twitter or X or whatever the hell we're calling this thing now, at Jay Paterno, and then Instagram at JV Paterno, JAYV Paterno. Because apparently somebody stolen at Jay Paterno on Instagram before I could get it. But those are the main places to find me.
Well, Jay, we
do a Penn State. If you're a Penn State fan, we do a Penn State show every week called Nittany Game Week. You can find that at nittanygameweek.com, as well as I think we're on 13 stations in 5 states, Fox and ABC affiliates.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Jay.
Yes,
good luck
absolutely.
with the rest of the season, and with whatever they decide there as far as the coaching hire moving forward. But good luck with the book sales as well, and thanks again for joining us. We appreciate it.
This is a blast. Anytime, guys.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Jay.
it.
We'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
All righty, you too. That was Jay Paterno, guys. What a fantastic interview. Like for a guy who's not into college ball, like, watching it week in and week out and following all that. I love it.
For 3. Oh, he backed it in. We're going to overtime.
You son of a bitch.
Oh man! All right.
You got him
Just
normally
like
quiet,
in.
and I saw you staring, but I was just like, oh, he's just really focused on what it's saying. No, I should have known. Well played. Welcome back, you son of a bitch.
Hey, I held it in though. I held it in.
You got me. Also, I wanted to point out that during the interview, Tank pointing out Cranfield. Ew, pause.
And just because it feels like it should have fit right there.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh man, good stuff though. Like incredible insight. It's nice to talk to somebody who's on the inside of all those decisions and hearing that perspective. Like it was rational.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
Yeah.
He
It was
he
real
didn't hold,
too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he didn't hold
Like-
any punches about like the reality of how things are and the structuring of the head coaches contracts and whatnot. Like I thought he made some very great points. So it's nice to hear somebody on the inside have those thoughts that we have, and it's not just us sitting on the outside like, well, we're bitter and we don't really understand.
We're not crazy. You're not crazy. We're not crazy. And, I almost wanted to ask him at one point too. I'm curious. Like, I've wondered if like the state schools are at a disadvantage because they do have to disclose stuff, being a public institution compared to some of the private universities. But again, I'm sure they've got plenty of inside information, all that stuff, and I think that's really true. That we're gonna see it. Something's gonna change. There's gonna be something. But man, that was awesome. Great dude.
That was really
he gets
great
this show. He gets this
he does, and it's like he joked along. Like I loved it, even though he hit us with he's too old for the Kelly Kaprowski Topanga question. Like I appreciate that because once upon a time, remember when Edon did him, and he was too young to know who either of them were either. So we've hit both the ends of the spectrum. Jesse pointing out that the next time Jay comes on, we need to hit him with a little Scotski trivia. And I think this is a great time to go ahead and do that. Let's talk a little baseball.
Here's the pitch. Oh, shit.
And we are going to talk baseball.
I got it queued up.
First, I was going to say, we're going to go on ahead and drop the Scotski trivia fact of the week. Take it away, Scotski.
For this week's Scotski 45 Stat of the Week, we will go to Donora, Pennsylvania, where Ken Griffey Jr. was born and is somehow second in hits, runs, RBIs, and MVP awards among left-handed outfielders born not just in Donora, but on November 21st. That's right, 49 years before him, Stan Musial was born and actually leads Griffey in all of those statistical categories. I know this is a pretty well-known stat to some in the baseball community, but it's pretty bizarre for those who haven't heard it before. I just wanted to address this one with you guys this week and discuss.
That's insane.
Scott's
saying that is
Zero clue.
I was just going to say, that's not something that I was aware of. Like, I'm not super hyper aware of any baseball birthdays to begin with. But the idea that two legendary Hall of Famers were born on the same day, like fitting all that criteria, like I almost wonder how Scott even came across something like that. Like it just seems so obscurely baseball.
I think it just living his life, just being Scotski, man. That's the only explanation.
Yeah, no, I love it though.
But you know what? I wonder. I am very curious. Do you think he's got like a little notebook or notebook? God, it's 2025. He's probably got an app on his phone, right? But do you think he's just sitting there jotting these things down, or do you think it's a scenario where he's like, oh, it's Tuesday, I should probably get one of those stats, and just pulls one out, like out of thin air?
I think Scott just pulls it from the depths. He's just like, I've got this infinite treasure trove of information, because he said he has just pointless, endless amounts of information and like trivia specifically for sports. But there's no doubt in my mind that he's had that one just ready to go at a moment's notice.
I don't know if the Schwab is still around, but they need to bring that show back, man.
I would pay good money to watch Scotski go up against the.
Speaking of which, set your VCRs, kids. The Stuart Scott 3 for 30 is coming out here, I think, in 3 weeks from now.
I saw the promo for that the other day, and I had to pause what I was doing to watch it. And at the end of it, I was like, that's the reason I wanted to go into sports broadcasting right there.
Yes.
And my wife was like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, like he passed away from cancer about, it's been like, 15 years now? It's been a while.
And I'll say I heard a radio spot, and even just hearing that gave me goosebumps. I was like, oh my God. The best part, obviously, is the title.
Yeah,
booyah.
Booyah! Booyah! I mean, that is the most fitting title, but I am super excited. And I'm glad that they did 30 for 30. I'm glad that ESPN is aware enough that there are fans of Stuart that would sit down and watch something like that. Because, I mean, if you say it on its face, if you just say, oh, hey, we're going to do a 30 for 30 about a sports broadcaster, like that doesn't really get people going. But when you say, oh, we're going to do a 30 for 30 about Stuart Scott, I mean, that changes the game, because I'm all in. Absolutely. I'm all in. So
What is your go-to Stu Scott catchphrase?
Gosh, it's got to be cooler than the other side of the pillow. I mean, for me, because that's the OG one.
My man. That's right.
That's the one that I think where I remember hearing it as a kid, and you're like, as a kid, always flipping over the pillow to get to the cooler side.
Oh my God.
And him acknowledging that little thing that you don't think is a well-known thing, you're just oh, it's not something that you go around talking about, hey, there's nothing better than flipping over the pillow and having that cool side. Him bringing it up in just a casual context during sports highlights. There's nothing cooler than using cooler than the other side of the pillow as a catchphrase.
I will say there was one other one that they were talking about on the radio when I was listening to this. I think it was Friday or something. I forget exactly how it goes, but it's call Ray and someone because we having a block party. and hold on, I'll just give it to myself because I know I effed that up so bad. I just deserve this one.
Hey, I've seen white people before, you know what I'm saying? But you motherfucker, man, you white as mayonnaise, man.
Also, Shohei's going to play for Team Japan if anybody was concerned or worried that he wouldn't suit up for Japan on their attempt to win back-to-back World Baseball Classic championships. Yeah, he's going to do that. He's also still the greatest player in the world. So no shocker, but amongst all the fact that he's played a bazillion games, come back from Tommy John and done all of the things in Major League Baseball, Shohei Ohtani will still be joining his Japanese teammates to probably come in at the very least as the favorites to get back to the finals. So yeah, we've got that to look forward to. And I know you don't give a crap, but I am super jacked for the
Shohei pitch
World Baseball Classic.
Well,
he did in the last World Baseball Classic.
Look. But if there's some value to be had, I'll throw a shekel down or two. Probably won't watch it, but I'll follow.
I'm trying to think. The last time it happened was gambling wasn't as. I mean, I guess there would have been. I don't know. I don't know what kind of odds and things they throw out there for the World Baseball Classic, but I'm sure that there'll be some action.
These BET top 10 unforgettable Stu Scott catchphrases are terrible. The only one
I gotta say,
right
this
Booyah.
might make me a bad black person, but I wouldn't take BET as the authority on Stuart Scott anything other than he was black.
That's fair. It was just the first Google result. That's all. So
that's fair. Let's go on ahead and get out of here. Let's talk about these beers that we are drinking. What was in your mug tonight, Mookie, in your return back in front of the camera? And was it a dog or not?
I still don't know how to pronounce it. We'll call it Brewery Omegang. It was wit wheat ale. It was fine. It got better as the drink went on, but it was just fine, I don't know. Maybe not Cocker Spaniel, but just Poodle. They're fine. That's all I got. Sorry.
That was such a depressing.
It's just so underwhelming. I got nothing else. It was a 5.2% beer on a Tuesday. Not bad, not good, not nearly as good as Jay Paterno.
Nah, that's fair. Tonight I was drinking the classic, the one and only, the one that sets the standard as Pumpkin does for Halloween and pumpkin beers. Great Lakes Christmas Ale, a dog as always, the best one you can find. Great Lakes, it's really the only thing Cleveland has given us a damn kind of sort of. That sounds right.
Facts.
Yeah. Tank chiming in real quickly before we get out of here, saying that he knows he's late, but sip chug Drainpour Thanksgiving edition, backyard football, the turkey trot, and watching all 3 NFL games. Mookie, I'm going to let you take this one first. Sip chug Drainpour on those.
Piece o' cake. We are going to sip on backyard football because, man, there's just something about breaking one off in the backyard, getting muddy, getting dirty, and then coming inside, eat a bunch of mashed potatoes and stuffing. Chug, watching all 3 NFL games, just because it can be hard to fit all 3 in if you're playing backyard football, and then absolutely poor drain turkey trot. Why the fuck are you running on Thanksgiving? Like, that is not what the holiday is about. Get out of here. Unless your name is Matt Stanton, there's no reason to be running.
Hey, I gotta say, I think you nailed this one. Backyard football, definitely sipping on. The best, though, you said getting all muddy and dirty. The best Thanksgiving Day football I ever played. It snowed like pretty heavily Thanksgiving morning, and we got out there and were able to play tackle football in the snow. And that's the only way, as far as I'm concerned, to play tackle football, especially with no pads. So give me that snow backyard tackle football on Thanksgiving. I am watching all 3 NFL games, even though I can tell you I've only watched non-49ers games. I don't think I've watched 3 NFL games this whole season, but I will chug that. And then I'm absolutely drain pouring the turkey trot because I will get up and do some exercise. Gotta do something to prime the pump, but I'm not running a 5K voluntarily on Thanksgiving.
That's how you play backyard football.
Yeah, that's doing too much. Like, you gotta get some exercise to get gut space, but not doing the whole turkey trot.
And you know what's never happened to backyard football? Ain't nobody ever get CTE, and ain't no one ever stabbed anyone.
Well, I don't know about anybody never getting CTE, but I feel like most games don't end in anybody getting stabbed. I feel confident.
At least not on purpose. Like, I could see someone get stabbed with keys in a pocket, but
you might make a mistake like that.
It's accidental shanking. Whew, boy, you know what this was, Scott?
It was a show. It was a show, Mo.
Oh, and now the music is drowning Scott out entirely.
It's too loud. What the hell? Why can't I get it to go down?
Oh, I'm moving the wrong meter.
Yeah, I know. I was moving the right one, and it still wasn't working. It felt like, can you hear me better now?
God damn it, Mike. Get your shit together.
Anyway, thank you, Jay Paterno, for coming on tonight. It was an amazing interview. Yeah, I did say Jay. I got it right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what do you think I said?
For sure said Joe. It's fine. It's fine.
Whatever. Thank you, Jay.
JVPaterno.com. Check it out.
And we appreciate you guys joining us. Happy Thanksgiving to all. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Thank you for listening whenever you are. You can find us on all the socials, all the places. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I think we're on TikTok. I don't know. The kids are on there on that. And obviously, we're here every Tuesday on YouTube. Mike should be back next week. It's going to be December. A December to remember, maybe? I don't know.
That's crazy. Come get that Discord and hang out, man.
Might be back on camera too next week. How about
Who knows?
that?
We'll
you
see.
Gonna join us again?
We'll see.
No?
Only one way to find out.
No. This was a show. And you should join back in. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks again. We appreciate you. As always, have a good night, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
You'll never walk alone. Hook 'em.